President Trump meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, where they discussed U.S. negotiations with Iran. Afterwards, President Trump writing on Truth Social, "I have just finished meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. I insisted that negotiations with Iran continue to see whether or not a deal can be consummated." This as the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Pentagon is preparing a second aircraft carrier to deploy to the Middle East. Former NSC Chief of Staff under President Trump, Alex Gray, joins me now. Alex, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. So President Trump's 1A is to make a nuclear negotiation with Iran. And yesterday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's goal was going to the White House and getting President Trump to expand those talks to include ballistic missiles and, of course, ending support for Hamas and Hezbollah. So the two allies met yesterday. What happens next?
Well, good to see you, Carly. I think what we're seeing here is the 180-degree difference from Biden to Trump, right? When Biden was negotiating with Iran, he negotiated from a position of literally zero American leverage. He actually started negotiating around the time we had done the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, and American prestige was at its very lowest. President Trump is talking about sending potentially a second aircraft carrier strike group to give us maximum leverage. When the Iranians sit across the table from his envoys, they know that President Trump is going to have an extraordinary amount of American power that he can bring to bear if the Iranians play games with us, as they usually do. I think that gives us a huge amount of leverage and momentum in these discussions. Again, the Iranians do this all the time. They love to string us along, but the president is positioning us in a very effective way to have maximum leverage here.
Yeah, I should always say it, it's the carrot and the stick approach. He posted something on Truth Social, says he wants to talk, while also simultaneously preparing a second aircraft carrier strike group to head towards Iran. And allow me to present this quote to you from Scott Bessent. He said, "We have seen the Iranian leadership wiring money out of the country like crazy." He goes on to say, "The rats are leaving the ship. That is a good sign that they know the end may be near." Do you believe that to be true?
I think the secretary makes a very good point, and we see this frequently before regimes start to collapse. We saw it in Venezuela with Maduro's henchmen attempting to flee the country. We see it right before these big seismic leadership changes. And so I think it's a good sign that President Trump is on the right track. He is exerting leverage. As you said, Carly, carrot and stick. Always operate from a position of unassailable American strength. And the more military hardware we have pre-positioned in the region, the more the president's words are going to resonate with the regime, and all those rats scurrying off the ship, they can read the writing on the wall.
And the military goal could be to do just enough to weaken the regime and inspire protesters to overturn it themselves, have this come from within. So militarily, how do you see that goal being accomplished?
Well, it's possible. It's going to be very challenging. The regime has 50 years of oppression skills. I mean, it is incredibly skilled at the art of repressing its own people. What I think the president should be focused on, and likely is very focused on, is maintaining American credibility. We cannot have a situation like the Obama red line in Syria, which I don't think President Trump would ever allow American credibility to be questioned that way. But we have to show that when he said that help was on the way, we have to show that America means what it says and it says what it means. I don't think anyone questions that with President Trump, but we have to make sure at all times, for reasons that go from the Taiwan Strait to Eastern Europe to our own hemisphere, that when the American president speaks, he always means what he says.
Certainly true. Talks are ongoing, and we will see if they remain discussions or if action is taken. Former NSC Chief of Staff under President Trump, Alex Gray, we thank you for your time.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.